Breaking K-pop news. One name is at the center of attention. One event has sparked massive reactions from fans. What really happened? All the facts and the latest updates start right now.
Did you really think Kim Taehyung would move without a reason? Did you honestly believe that a man whose every step has been studied, dissected, praised, and sometimes mocked for more than a decade would suddenly lose his sense of strategy? Or is it possible, just possible, that what some people rush to laugh at, dismiss, and label as no-go was actually part of a much bigger picture hiding in plain sight? In recent weeks, a strange narrative began circulating in certain corners of social media. Some solo stans, fueled by comparison culture and obsession with surface-level prestige, tried to downplay Kim Taehyung's brand deals. They laughed. They scoffed. They pointed fingers at a few local or regionally rooted brands and used that as proof that his influence was somehow shrinking, that his choices were random, or worse, that he was settling. But here's the real question no one asked loud enough. Since when did Kim Taehyung ever move randomly? Kim Taehyung, known globally as Si Hyuk BTS, is not a man who stumbles into decisions. His career, from his debut days as the hidden member to becoming one of the most recognizable cultural figures on the planet, has been shaped by intention. Every phase, every pivot, every silence, and every loud statement has carried meaning. So when people mock his brand choices without looking deeper, they're not exposing a flaw in Taehyung's strategy. They're exposing a flaw in their own understanding. A TO understand why these criticisms miss the mark entirely. You have to step back and look at Kim Taehyung's trajectory not as a fan hungry for bragging rights, but as an observer of culture, branding, and long-term legacy. Taehyung is not chasing short-term validation. He is building something that outlives trends, charts, and even idol cycles. That alone already separates him from the noise. The laughter started with a word that has become disturbingly popular in stan spaces: no-go. A word meant to belittle, to strip value, to suggest irrelevance. When applied to brands, it implies that only global luxury houses with centuries of history matter, and everything else is insignificant. But branding in the modern era doesn't work like that anymore. In fact, the smartest moves today often happen far away from the loudest spotlights. Kim Taehyung's brand deals tell a story of someone who understands positioning. Luxury is no longer just about price tags and European heritage. Luxury is about narrative, authenticity, cultural resonance, and emotional connection. A local brand can become global overnight if the right person becomes its face. And Taehyung knows this better than almost anyone. This is the same man who turned a simple green cardigan into a sold-out item worldwide, who made jazz records chart again among younger audiences, who caused spikes in tourism just by posting a photo, and who shifted public interest toward vintage aesthetics long before it became a mainstream trend. His influence doesn't follow existing currents. It creates them. So when Taehyung aligns himself with local or lesser-known brands, the question shouldn't be, why would he do that? The real question is, why wouldn't he? These collaborations aren't accidents. They are deliberate acts of cultural amplification. Local brands carry identity. They represent craftsmanship, roots, and stories that mass luxury sometimes loses in its pursuit of scale. By choosing them, Taehyung isn't downgrading his status. He's elevating theirs. And in doing so, he positions himself not just as a celebrity endorser, but as a tastemaker with authority. There's also something else many critics conveniently ignore: freedom. Kim Taehyung is at a stage in his career where he doesn't need validation from anyone. He doesn't need to prove his relevance by attaching his name to the most obvious choice. That's rookie behavior. True power lies in choice, and Taehyung's choices reflect autonomy. Calling these brands no-go also reveals an uncomfortable truth about how some fans perceive success. For them, success is loud logos, Western approval, and constant comparison. But Taehyung has never operated that way. Even within BTS, he stood out for embracing individuality over conformity. His artistic sensibility leaned toward the unconventional, the nostalgic, the soulful. His brand partnerships follow the same philosophy. There's a reason people often call Kim Taehyung a genius, and it's not because he plays chess in interviews or speaks in riddles. It's because he understands timing. He understands restraint. He understands that the most powerful moves are sometimes the quiet ones. Consider how his image has evolved. Taehyung is not boxed into a single archetype. He's not just an idol, not just a singer, not just a fashion muse. He is a cultural bridge. His presence connects generations, genres, and geographies. That kind of influence doesn't need constant reinforcement. It needs careful preservation, by collaborating with brands that align with his values rather than chasing hype. Taehyung protects his image from dilution. Overexposure is the downfall of many celebrities. Endorsing everything that comes your way weakens your brand. Taehyung does the opposite. He curates. Another clue hiding in plain sight is the emotional response his brand deals generate. Every time he partners with a brand, big or small, the reaction is immediate. Items sell out. Websites crash. Social media explodes. That's not the behavior of a declining star. That's market power in action. Even local brands benefit exponentially from his involvement. They gain global visibility, international demand, and cultural prestige overnight. In business terms, that's not charity. That's leverage. And Taehyung holds it. There's also a deeper layer to this strategy that critics often miss. Cultural pride. Supporting local or regional brands is not a downgrade. It's a statement. In a global industry dominated by Western standards of luxury, choosing local names challenges the hierarchy. It says that quality, artistry, and value don't need Western validation to matter. Taehyung has always been vocal, subtly, and sometimes directly, about honoring roots. Whether it's his love for Korean art forms, traditional aesthetics, or vintage sensibilities tied to his homeland, his choices consistently reflect respect for origin. Brand deals are no different. The laughter from some solo stands also exposes a troubling obsession with competition. Instead of celebrating different paths, they reduce everything to rankings. Who has the biggest brand? Who has the flashiest deal? Who wins today? But Taehyung isn't playing that game. He never has to. He plays the long game. And in the long game, relevance isn't measured by who shouts the loudest, but by who remains influential when the noise fades. Think about it. How many idols chase luxury deals early, peak quickly, and then struggle to redefine themselves later? Taehyung is doing the reverse. He is expanding his range, deepening his narrative, and future-proofing his career. When trends change, and they always do, he will still stand. There's a reason global luxury houses still line up for him. There's a reason fashion editors, art directors, and cultural critics pay attention to what he wears, listens to, and supports. Those industries understand nuance. They understand that Taehyung's value lies not just in his face, but in his perspective. Calling his brand deals random ignores years of evidence. Taehyung has consistently aligned with projects that resonate with his personal taste. Jazz, vintage fashion, minimalist design, emotional storytelling. None of that is accidental. It's cohesive. Even his silence is strategic. Taehyung doesn't over-explain himself. He lets time do the talking. And time has proven him right again and again. What makes this entire situation ironic is that the same people mocking his choices often rely on his relevance to fuel their comparisons. They talk about him because he matters. They dissect his moves because they know he sets the standard. Mockery, in this case, is just another form of acknowledgement. The truth is uncomfortable for some. Kim Taehyung doesn't need to conform to anyone's idea of success. He defines it, and that's precisely why his moves unsettle people who rely on rigid hierarchies. There's also an emotional aspect to this that can't be ignored. Taehyung has spoken before about pressure, expectations, and the weight of being watched. Choosing partnerships that feel authentic rather than performative is also an act of self-preservation. It allows him to exist as a human, not just a product, and an industry that constantly tries to mold artists into marketable templates. Taehyung resists quietly. His resistance isn't loud rebellion. It's intentional alignment. And that takes courage to us. The next time someone laughs at a brand name they don't recognize, maybe they should pause and ask themselves why recognition is the only metric they trust. Maybe they should ask why Kim Taehyung, of all people, would ever need to downgrade. And maybe, just maybe, they should consider the possibility that the man they're mocking is 10 steps ahead, watching the reaction exactly as planned. Because history has shown us one thing very clearly. Kim Taehyung's choices age well. Trends catch up to him, not the other way around. Brands he touches gain meaning. Aesthetics he embraces become movements. And narratives he builds last longer than any temporary laugh.